a good morning and welcome to day 3 of our conference. We're going to go ahead and get started with our breakfast chat before we go into our learning sessions today. Just remember that kind of our normal opening where you have me introduce maybe like a keynote or things like that does not take place today. Today, we're going to be transitioning out of here over to some of our sessions, and then we'll get back together at the 1 p.m. Eastern time for our final wrap up. So just wanted to start this morning with something very simple, which is I'd like to get feedback on your experience so far with the conference. Was there any learnings, any aha moments, any networks you've been able to build? Just would like your thoughts and feedback thus far. And feel free, you can either just take yourself off of mute or you can use the raise your hand feature and I can call you out that way as well. And remember, this session is about you. This isn't a formal, this is very informal. So your engagement and your voice is important. Do I have a brave soul that's going to start us off today?
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
I can go first. I think it was a really cool experience because this is my first time like at a conference and having a poster. So it was a great experience to like also present my research orally. So I think it was overall really good. And also I didn't know that we had like the booths that had all the other colleges and stuff. So that was also really great to do.
Nina, did you get a chance to interact with any of those booths yesterday? I know you were a presenter as well. So did the timing work out to where you were able to still interact with the exhibitors?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I've seen you, I think you were in my very first session on Friday, and I've seen you, navigating your way around. You're here at the breakfast. Something that we talked about, Nina, which was on the branding side, is about making people remember you. And so Nina Green is someone, Greene, right? Is someone that's memorable, and only because of your interactions that you've had with the various sessions and your presence. And so I really appreciate that from you. And you took heed to the advice that I gave on Friday. And now it's like, oh, that's Nina. Like, I feel like I know you and I really don't know you. But that's kind of the power of these conferences and networking and just being available and being present.
Thank you.
There was only one thing that you missed out. What was the one thing you missed out, Nina?
Probably introduction.
There you go. You got to always let the people know who you are.
I can do it even though it's late. But again, I'm Nina Green. I'm a sophomore at the University of Cincinnati, majoring in biological sciences on the pre-med track. And
awesome. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Sandra, do you want to kind of take your device off of mute and let us know about that film review that we had yesterday? That was really awesome.
No, I just wanted to say, this is Sandy Trowell at Valdosta State. I'm a professor in the mathematics department. I just really enjoyed listening to her. And of course, being in the mathematics department, it was really interesting as she talked about algorithms and just the whole thing was just really nice.
Yeah, I was telling Deb this morning that I watched the video. It was on, I didn't know it was on Netflix. So I watched it on Netflix and it was much more than I thought, because the initial intro was about the mask that she had to put on for her arts project. And I didn't know it was going like to so other layers. That thing got much deeper than the start of the movie. And so, yeah, very eye-opening.
Yes,
for those movie.
I watched it last night also with you. I found it on Netflix and watched it. It's well worth watching.
Absolutely. All right, so we're just having some open dialogue. Feel free to take your device off mute, use the raise your hand feature. We're just talking about some various experiences we've had over the last few days. And then any other topics that you like to bring up, please feel free. All right, I did see a hand raised from Marita.
Hi, yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Marita Abram. I am a associate professor in biology at Sinclair Community College, as well as the campus LSAM program coordinator. I just want to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed this weekend and getting to know so many just new colleagues, that are within the alliances of the Midwest. Personally, I have found the conference to help me to just really think about new ways of supporting our scholars at Sinclair. I really enjoyed the Alliance, meet and greet and connect session, just hearing how other institutions actually, allocate stipends and ways of going about to support our students through LSAM stipends. That's been very helpful. I also want to say, as a developing professional myself, I found many of just the conversations. I can't recall the very first session I attended, but one of the professional speakers was speaking to scholars, but she also was speaking in many ways to myself when she said that be mindful of how you are really utilizing your energy once you move up in your career. I'm just kind of paraphrasing what she said, but she just said, being a minority in STEM, sometimes institutions would try to place you in the equity where DEI work a lot, but she just said, be very mindful of the tasks that you're taking at hand and make sure you are doing things that are going to help you to navigate into the professional spaces that you are hoping to one day actually reside in. So I just want to say this was a great, great conference for everyone involved, including professionals. So thank you all.
Awesome, great feedback. And you are correct. It's been a topic that I've been hearing a lot over the last few years about underrepresented minorities, either it be when they graduate during undergrad and go in their careers, or when they get their PhDs and they go in their careers, that either on the corporate side or on the academic side, they are getting a lot of requests beyond their normal job responsibilities to be the face or the leader out of DEI activity. And then what kind of can negatively happen is kind of two things that can come from that. One, your time is of great value and you may lose focus on the job at hand, which is why you were getting. And then secondly, people, and this is a twisted kind of thought, but it's what I've seen personally, is that people kind of get pigeonholed into that being who they are and losing sight of their academic and professional excellence. And it's not a bad thing for someone to think of you in the DEI space and recognizing your work for that. But you did just put 20 something years worth of education together, excellent at what you do professionally as well. And so it's not something where I think anybody is recommending not to participate. I think at least what I'm generally hearing is just be mindful of the balance.
Yeah.
Because you will be everything.
Absolutely. And I am definitely learning that. So I do appreciate the raw and organic conversation about really establishing that balance because you're right. Sometimes you can lose sight of what you're actually aiming towards. So Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
Okay. So I thought I saw, Marie, were you about to come in here and say something? It looked like you, on the computer, it looks like you really want to. Maybe she doesn't. All right, so we've had some wonderful dialogue, some great feedback about the conference. I'll just summarize a few of the key points that have been brought up this morning. Really good interaction from one of our students' feedback. Nina gave some great feedback about being able to do her poster presentation and have that experience to do it orally and get that feedback and have that experience under her belt so then it could benefit her in the future, along with being able to go to the exhibitor fair and network with other resources. We also had some great feedback about our coded bias video and movie review. For those that have not watched it, it is a wonderful experience. It does enlighten you and does kind of make you feel like there is a call to action of what we can do to help improve in that space. It is available on Netflix, but also LSAMP has made it available through our code as well. And then feedback about from a, I guess, faculty administrator viewpoint of the connections built amongst themselves and also about how to protect your time so you can also be great as a professional, engaging with your students, but also supporting any DEI activities that you have. So just being a guardian of your time and in order to maximize all three of those categories as a faculty or administrator. So that was some of the feedback that we've had so far. We would love for you to feel free to take your devices off of mute, and you are able to speak up and share your thoughts. Hey, Linda.
Hello, good morning.
Yay, we got the audio working today.
Yes. I just want to say that you guys find the most wonderful speakers. The 11 o'clock session with the keynote speaker and the Voices for Success panel. I hope lots of students paid attention to everything they say. Because that how you start with a dream and a path and just being open to opportunities and being willing to try new things, can open all these doors for you and make you realize who you really are and, find your path. So I was really, really happy to be there attending those sessions.
Awesome. And, I think it's good that you were at those sessions, Linda, but it's also good that we had you because, you were able to give us some wonderful feedback yesterday at our breakfast, and your presence matters just as much as the presenters that we're bringing, right? And so even like one of the assignments this morning, right? So if there's anybody that feels like they would like to share more about internships and their experience with internships during my, sorry, the time zones get me a little bit. During the 11 a.m. time slot, I have an internship discussion. If you feel that you would like to share your experiences with internships and the importance of them, please feel free to come at the 11 o'clock time slot, 11 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Eastern, and you can support me in that. And the reason I'm bringing that up, Linda, is that we work hard, and the LSMRCE and the LSM family is working hard to bring good content. But one of the most beautiful things that I get out of the conference every year is you. Like, I think we forget how awesome you all are, and the feedback that you give and the knowledge that you share and the feedback that you're providing during these sessions is just as valuable as those that we're bringing in to speak to you. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts. Students, you guys did a really good job of giving feedback about how to spread the word on the campus at breakfast yesterday. So your side of it is just as valuable as those we're bringing in. So I just wanted to say thank you. Awesome. So we'll open the floor back up. Please feel free to take your devices off mute. We've been just talking this morning about how our experiences have gone so far at the conference, if there's been anything that we've learned, any aha moments, things we can take away. We would love to hear your feedback this morning. And did anybody take my advice on navigating through the attendees section of the Hoover app? Please, if you didn't do so, it's still available today, and it still will be available after the conference as well. Marla?
Yeah, hi, good morning. My name is Marla Bertillo. I'm a chemical engineering student. I currently attend College of DuPage in Illinois. This conference has been like a really great experience for me. Like presenting my poster and like seeing what other researchers did was really like powerful, because we were kind of like all on the same track. I was able to connect to other students through the attendees section. One second, sir.
No problem.
Sorry. And it was really good because you get to see that other people went through like the same experiences as you did, that you were not alone. All the sessions I've attended through the weekend have been really helpful, because you hear other people's experience that you can absolutely relate. The booths yesterday were really helpful too, because I was able to make like some connections and like talk to other people. So yeah, I'm really glad I was able to be part of this experience.
Awesome. And thank you for that feedback, Marla. The one challenge I will give to you is stay connected with them once the conference is over, right? And so that's really where the magic happens, is what do we do now that the conference ends? And are we staying connected with those individuals? Are we leveraging those resources? Are we making ourselves available to be of service to someone else? And that happens after the conference is over. So let's just make sure that we kind of carry this energy and this momentum beyond our closure of the conference today. So great feedback. Feel free to take your devices off of mute. We're just having some open dialogue around our feedback from some of our experiences that we've had. People have given great feedback about specific sessions that they've attended. Some great feedback about just their overall kind of experience, but feel free to take your device off mute or use the raise your hand feature. And we would love to hear your feedback about your experiences over the last few days.
I also have another thing to add. This is Nina. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Come on in, Nina.
Okay. I just also wanted to add one session that I really thought that was helpful, especially in the beginning of everything, was the Impostor Syndrome session, because it kind of reminded me that other people kind of feel the same way and you're not alone. Because while starting this whole process, I kind of felt a little bit of imposter syndrome, because I was like, oh, like my abstract got accepted. Oh, but it just kind of reminded me that, again, like, you know, everyone that's here today deserved to be here. So that was a really great session.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you bringing that topic up, Nina, because for those of us that got a little bit more years on us, we will tell you, and I'm pretty sure that all will admit, it doesn't stop, right? It doesn't stop just when you overcome it in college. For some reason, the imposter syndrome kind of picks back up for us in our professional life, and we have to clear that hurdle again. And then even when you clear it professionally, you may get put on a new project or work for a new organization, and then it happens again. And then it's like, come on, man, I thought I got over this, right? And, you know, something that I've learned, Nina, about the imposter syndrome, that at first I thought I wasn't as smart as everyone else. I didn't come from the background they came from. I just felt inadequate to a certain degree. as I've gotten older and I've seen it creep in, I've realized it's because for me, I do set very high expectations on myself. And so a little bit of that imposter syndrome comes from me not feeling that I'm performing at my best, but sometimes it's because I'm being put into a new environment. And as a professional, you have to give yourself grace to adapt and adjust to new environments and not expect that your excellence that you expect from yourself is going to take place on day one. All right, especially when you may go from one institution to the next as a professor, or you're in corporate and you go from one company to the next, or one lab to the next. There's so many things that you have to get in alignment before that excellence that you're accustomed to showing comes about. And I think that'll giving yourself a little bit of grace allows for you to stress a little less on the imposter syndrome, because I think it's not imposter syndrome at some point. I think it's the expectations that we put on ourselves as well. So it's a combination. I felt like early on it was true imposter syndrome, and then later it's become, I felt like I wasn't meeting my expectations fast enough and I wasn't showing myself enough grace. I didn't know if anybody else had any feedback on that topic, if I'm kind of off my rocker here.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, Brian. It's definitely the expectations you place on yourself. I don't know for my journey through college and now in professional life, it's definitely popped up where I feel like, oh, I should be over this. But then I've realized it's not something that you just one day wake up and it's gone. It really comes when you find yourself in new situations that especially when you get a new job, you get a promotion, and then you have all these extra responsibilities, and it's just something I think it's truly internal as far as how you see yourself. But I really like what you said about giving yourself grace, because if you have that personality that you want to do stuff really well, which I feel like a lot of us do in STEM, get it right the first time, and we feel like as soon as we get into a job or we're doing something that we should be good right away, but we need to give ourselves grace and allow ourselves to learn and get better along the way.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, Nina. And, you know, I don't know how to say this the most inspiring way, but it's like, I don't know. My mom always said, you don't deserve, sometimes you hear people say, I deserve this. And she's like, you have to work for it. And at the same time, though, I just want us to have confidence. I want us to know that we're supposed to be here. You're supposed to have that opportunity. Now, you need to put the work in, and you have. The work that you've done up to this point has put you in this position. And I want us to have really strong confidence in ourselves. The more we act as if we're supposed to just be happy for the opportunity, the less we're going to be able to show that creativity, because that creativity and that excellence comes through comfort. You need a little bit of comfort to relax and let your greatness come through. Now, some people can perform under stress, they can perform under fear, but for the majority of people, there needs to be some form of safety and comfort. And that's something that's internal to yourself. And you can actually perform even better and be a better version of you if you relax and know that you are supposed to be here. This is the place that you've put the hard work in, and the place that you're supposed to be, just like everyone else. And don't feel that, oh, I'm just so happy I got here. No, you're supposed to be here, and this is only a small step on a really large ladder. You have a long way to go. So just hopefully that gives you a little bit more confidence in yourself. And then we're going to continue to try to infuse that confidence in you because we believe in you. All right, so feel free. We are having some good dialogue this morning. Really thank you all for joining. We did 2 breakfast talks this morning. This year, we only had 1 last year. We decided to open it up to number 2. So Marita, come on in.
Yes, Brian, I just want to echo what you just said regarding having a stress-free mind, right? To be able to expand our intellectual creativity. That resonates very deeply with me professionally and personally for the past 5 years in my career, how a lot of opportunities have come my way, particularly affiliated with LSAMP and also leadership roles within my institution. But when it comes to imposter syndrome, so as you were saying this, one thing came to mind: being able to perform right at our best it definitely correlates with a mind that is less stressed. And one thing that I've personally found is that when I am able to perform at my best and see what product, right, and outcomes that my ideas and my work ethic actually yields, that mitigates imposter syndrome. So there's a circle here, right? Being able to think and being able to think, right, without having that imposter syndrome weighing on you allows you to be able to be creative in your professional spaces. The results that yields from that creativity then comes back full circle and mitigates imposter syndrome. So it's so important, like you said, to recognize, the level of stress we're putting on ourselves because of the expectations we put on ourselves. If we allow that to overcome us in the long run, that just continue to reinforces imposter syndrome and also inhibits our ability to perform at its best. So product, your professional, how can I say this? Pretty much your professional contributions when you are not as stressed actually in the long run decreases that imposter syndrome professionally over time. So I just want to say thank you, because you bring up an excellent point about being able to perform and looking at our performance to remind us that we are in these spaces for a reason, not because we're so lucky, but because we are performing and we do yield good results. So.
No, I appreciate those words. And it is important because as you think about it this way, Marita, it's kind of the imposter syndrome or not feeling like you've worked and earned your way there kind of hurts you in two ways when when that's an emotion that's too high. Because one, the basic task that you're doing, you don't feel that you're at your best with. But then when it comes to creativity, what starts to happen is that you are now not even believing and having full conviction to the wonderful ideas that your brain is formulating, because you didn't believe in yourself. And so the more you don't believe in yourself, the more these wonderful ideas pop up, and you yourself will turn the idea down and not allow it to truly be manifested before someone else even tells you no. So you're already hurting yourself, and we'll say, oh, they didn't believe in me. No, you didn't believe in yourself. You never believed in yourself. And what happened is, it may have been a wonderful idea, a wonderful suggestion, a wonderful thought, but because of your conviction being so low, when you presented it, you didn't present it with the confidence that was needed to get the person on the other side of it to believe in it. And so they may have said no, but it wasn't no because it didn't make fundamental sense. It may have been the way in which you delivered it didn't give them conviction because you didn't have conviction.
Excellent point. Excellent point. I could not agree anymore. Yeah.
And that's why I'm all about, and I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. I love the concept of showing some humility. I love the concept of being gracious, being humble. But I also love the concept of just being awesome and believing in you and going out and being great. Because at the end of the day, when you're sitting in front of that exam as a student, when you're in that interview as a professional, that's you. That's your work. That is a single act. Your mom, your dad, your professor, they cannot be there to save you in that moment. And all you have in that moment is the belief that you have in yourself. And so much as we have humility, as much as we are grateful, there comes a special time and place where you have to go and have extreme confidence. And you have to let that, I don't want to call it arrogance at all, but you just got to be comfortable that I am great. I have put the work in. I have prepared for this moment. And then after it's over, you can go back and show some humility. But in that moment, I want you to have extreme confidence in who you are, because there's nobody that's coming to save you in those sessions. A professor can't do a job interview for you. They can write a letter of recommendation, and that's it. But they cannot be in that interview for you. They cannot take that entry exam into a graduate studies for you. That's all on you. And that's going to come from your preparation and your confidence. You got me excited this morning now.
Well, listen, I'm gonna be quiet because we can go back and forth, but all I can say is agree. Man, this is wisdom. So yeah.
I'm normally I think Deb, she's like, Brian, you usually got a little bit more fire. I was like, well, I'm not doing my normal presentations like I used to. And then, so it just feels so weird, but it's certain topics, man, that get me excited. And having a student who believes in themselves. Yeah. And the reason I have the confidence in saying this, Marita, and I have full conviction in it myself, is because of a Paul, is because of the hundreds and hundreds of students, because I know that Miss Green, who spoke earlier, who's a sophomore in college right now, I know that when we say that we have a blueprint for you, Miss Green, we have a blueprint for you. The question is, will you believe in it and will you do your part? But the LSMRCE and LSAMP alliances, these wonderful administrators and faculty, some are on the line here. They have put together years of preparation for you. And it's up to us to take advantage of it. And I promise you, your success, like I can see it. If you want your PhD, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was chemistry. Was it chemistry for you? I think it was chemistry. But if you guys, I think you told me you wanted to get your PhD in chemistry. If that's true, the blueprint is there. It is absolutely there. And I remember yesterday, Dr. Nguyen coming on and speaking about that bridge to get to that doctorate for our students. It is there for you. And that's why we, as people who are supporting you, we have belief in this process because we have evidence that it works. Our students are coming back doing success panels. They're coming back doing workshops and seminars because they've crossed that bridge. They went across that finish line and they went to the next level called greatness, right? Success is going to be your graduation. Everybody on here is going to graduate. I expect that, and I know that. But your greatness is going to be in what you do after it's over. And that's the special place. And only a few people in life go to that special place. But the good thing for us is all of our students go to that special place, because you go and achieve great things, and then you bring that back and you go help those that are coming behind you. And so if you ever get down and out, I really want you to get connected with Paul and Nala, because Nala, what I love about Nala the most is it's the evidence. It is the evidence, right? Deb and the team and Dr. Nguyen, Dr. Batanga, they can show you the data over the years of our value, right? And why we continue to get the funding to do the things like this. But if you just want some good physical evidence, just go talk to an alumni, right? Because that is the clear evidence that what you're going through is not something that you can't endure and you can't overcome, because they are evidence that it's possible. And so that's why I really am happy we're going to have Nala speak again today at the closeout session, because they are our physical evidence. And then behind the scenes, the LSMRCE family and their grant writing and all of that has the data, but our physical evidence is in our alumni. All right, let me stop being so preachy this morning. Somebody else want to share? Feel free to take your devices off of mute. We just were sharing feedback about the conference, our experiences over the last few days. People gave feedback about various sessions they attended, and then just some general feedback. Both students and faculty have given some wonderful dialogue and feedback to us. So I want to say thank you for those that have shared this entire time, and then let's open the floor up for more dialogue. And if someone didn't have something directly they wanted to say now, I did have, Paul, were you about to say something there?
No, I was gonna say I missed that fire in you, so I'm glad it came out this morning. But no, I really like what you're saying about the confidence and humility. I feel like a lot of times when we think of humility, we think it's thinking less of yourself, but it's not that. Humility is thinking of yourself less. So it's a kind of dichotomy. You can be humble and still be confident at the same time, because you have those moments where whether you're giving a presentation, you're giving a talk, and you're fully in the moment, you're showing everything you've done, everything you've worked for. But at the same moment when you step off the platform, you're just interacting with people, you're not constantly talking only about yourself, you're getting to know other people, interact with them. So I think you can have both. It's just understanding that you need to be confident in the moment when you're doing something, but also be interested and willing to network and talk with other people as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Looks like we may have a hand raised. Narita, come on in.
Oh, no, that was me clapping. I'm sorry. Oh. Agreeing with everything that Paul is saying. Sorry, I'm using all the reactions to express myself.
So I wanted to pose a question. Me and Deb and Cho, we were talking about this the other night, and I was like, is this a good topic for the breakfast? Our students don't always have direct access to us as faculty and administrators on a consistent basis. So one of the questions I just wanted to pose was, sessions like this and conferences like this, our students get a chance to see you as faculty and administrators in a different light, because they're seeing more of you, and they're seeing kind of the humanity in you, right? You're their professor, you're their mentor on campus, but here they get a chance to see you be humanized. What are some ways that you think that we can do more of that while we're in the busyness of the school year, for our students to feel like they can build that connection with you and have that time with you, to where that trust is built and they can start being more transparent about their needs and not feel like they have to suppress the things that they may be going through? Just wanted to toss that out there. Hopefully that doesn't make anybody feel uncomfortable, but we just wanted to see if we could get a little bit of dialogue around that topic. And even if I'm accurate with the statements that I'm making, but I just feel like at the conference, I get a chance to talk to so many faculty, and I'm like, wow, they're so transparent, they're so open. And I was like, wow, I wonder if our students ever get a chance to have that feeling from them while the busyness of the school year is going. This is kind of a moment where we are able to slow down and stop, but we don't get many of these moments throughout the school year. Marita, is that a clap or a speak this time?
That's actually a hand raised.
All right.
Yeah, I can share a little bit about what we do at Sinclair Community College in Dayton, Ohio. I transitioned into so again, I'm faculty, but I am also the campus program coordinator for LSMP, and I transitioned into that role about a year ago. And one thing that I immediately did or implemented is, I shall say, our LSMP monthly community meetings. And that is a platform in which not just scholars or administrators, but we're talking any person affiliated with the LSEM community at Sinclair, they are invited. And so it's a community meeting, administrators, faculty, mentors, scholars, even advisors and staff. And we have a good time. We actually just had our meeting this Friday. And when I tell you that before we get into the meat of the discussion and the business, what I did, I said, okay, let's do an environmental scan. And we do first thing first, what I like to call wellness checks. And it was very eye-opening because immediately faculty and staff and administrators thought that the wellness check poll that I had used for Zoom was going to be specifically for scholars. And I said, but hear me clearly. And I had a big announcement. I said, this is for faculty, staff, administrator, and scholars. This is for our community. And I had questions that really invited everyone to be organic, Brian, about how they were doing at this midpoint check, right, of the semester. And you would be amazed how many administrators and faculty actually shared personally how they were, these are some things, students, that we're struggling with right now. We are human. One faculty member said how, they got in a car accident and it really stressed them out. And then that then prompted a student to share about how they were, really struggling in the class. So that's just one idea, just to kind of have really organic and, really raw and organic wellness checks, I think, with community affiliates of the LSEM program before you get into kind of the formal side of a meeting. And I found that actually has increased the participation rate of the community meetings monthly since doing that. So that's just a tip that I would like to share.
Awesome. I really love the idea of the wellness checks, the monthly community meeting, things, and I'll keep using the word humanizing. Things that humanize us as faculty and administrators, I believe from a student perspective, builds that bond even more, and it creates some more trust because you're in a leadership role and we see you as that. But when we can see that, oh, wow, you went through this as well, or hey, sometimes students, and they don't always say this out loud, but they forget that you were once a student, right? Because they're just in that mindset of seeing you as their administrator or their professor, that they forget that you were once a student as well. So anything that we can do to humanize ourselves is always a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Anybody else like to share thoughts on this topic at all? Looks like we got another hand raised. All right. Oh, nope, that's the same hand. Would anyone else like?
That's a thumbs up. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
I love you using all the features. Anybody else like to share on this topic, even from a student perspective? Is this something that's important to you? Is it just something kind of that I'm conjuring up in my mind? All right, we got a hand raised from Roberto.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So I'm Roberto Martinez. I go to Arizona State University. And I really like the idea of having like periodic meetings where you can just kind of get together and, meet each other in a more relaxed environment. Because, taking classes, sometimes you don't really know your professors that well, especially if, the classes through Zoom, like we have for like the past, year and a half or so. And I've had professors who never turned on their cameras once. So a lot of times I don't even know what they look like, aside from just their voice or their picture from their university profile.
Interesting.
So, like, I feel like some professors, maybe they don't do it intentionally, but they don't seem, approachable in a way. So, just having some kind of way to, get to know them at a more personal level is just great.
Oh, that's really great feedback, Roberto. And yeah, that's shocking. That, like you said, something as simple as just turn your camera on. So one time I can know what you look like outside of your bio photo or something. I really, really appreciate that feedback. And I think it's Roberto, this topic and what you just said could come off as negative if presented in the wrong way, but I just feel so your words were very genuine, and all you asked was for something simple, a simple connection, which was let me see your face, right, as a starting point. Before you don't have to tell me your life story, but let's start with just showing me your face as a starting point to the relationship. And I asked this question, do we think there has to be a relationship, right? And that's a deeper conversation for another day that we can have. But I think if a person doesn't feel like that is a necessity, then you won't get that. And so I think that's on an administrator or professor by professor basis of how they view the importance or lack thereof of a relationship with their students. And that's just an interesting dialogue that I would like for maybe us to have at a later date. But Roberto, thank you so much for sharing that. And did anybody else want to add on to that from a student perspective of what Roberto was sharing? Hey, Diana, she's back.
Yeah, hi everyone. So nice to see you. So nice to talk to you again in this breakfast time. I like it. So yeah, I really agree that we need to be more flexible sometimes in the kind of schedule that the students have. Sometimes I feel like in my own experience, I can attend the monthly meetings because it interferes with my internships or with my classes. But still, I would like to have the chance to meet with the advisors. So I will really suggest to have like office hours, like the professors have at different times during the week, so that if the students have the chance to know, okay, I will be there. And if you need something, this is the bridge, or you can have access to me in person, or well, because of COVID, you can access to a Zoom meeting or something. But I think that having that channel, like, okay, I know that this advisor have a time every Monday and Friday from 4 to 5, I don't know. So I know that I can be there and ask them questions or ask them for advice. And also like the schedules, it will be fine or great if you can find like hours that are outside the academic schedule. Because yeah, usually we have like meetings at 11 and I have classes at a time. And so that will help. And just creating trust. And creating trust starts by, I can say that I relate to a person more when that person had the chance to be open to me about like how was their journey, and I can relate to that at some point. And it's more difficult to start that kind of openness from the student to the advisor, and as it comes from the advisor first, and then the student has the feeling of, okay, now I can open up my needs, and I can actually find a help or the support that I need in that person. Because sometimes it's, okay, I'm facing this situation, I don't know, I'm not doing great in a class, or I don't feel adequate in my internship, or I don't know what kind of need could be that one. But it really needs to be trust in between the advisor and the student to be able to go to the root of that situation and see how can I help that person properly. And I really like all the initiatives that you have been taking about like the wellness, because sometimes we deny that besides all of that challenges that the students are facing, there is a need to taking care of our mental health. And I say this because obviously neuroscience and behavior, it's my career, but also I have the opportunity to be with more classmates. And I have to say that even though I'm not facing that situation right now, I'm very sensitive that they have all the skills, all the potential to achieve more of what they have been doing right now. But it's more because they don't know how to navigate stress sometimes, that they cannot improve or get to the next step. So yeah, having the chance to have flexible dates, that would be great. I really support the wellness meetings that you have been doing. And of course, the monthly meetings, they really help a lot. And something that I like from my school is that they send us like the PDFs or the presentations that they had during the meetings so that we can catch up if we were not able to attend that. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Diana. Very thoughtful as always. Really appreciate that feedback. And I will say this too on the faculty side, right? We do want them to be flexible, but at the same time, until we cross over and we see what the journey that our faculty are on, it's shocking the responsibilities that are put on our faculty. And so we also, as students, can show grace and flexibility ourselves. So it's kind of a joint venture, right? It's a union of the two groups working together. But I always will speak for my faculty and administrators. They got some responsibilities, not only in the classroom, but beyond the classroom, and then responsibilities for the university as well. And it's a tall task that they have, but I do believe that there is a middle ground, a spot where we can join together to find solutions for these issues. All right, looks like Peggy wanted to share. We have enough time maybe for one or two positions for our next.
Hi, I'm Peggy Mock. I'm from Valdosta State University, and my first supervisor left. Sometimes for Roberto, sometimes faculty don't turn on their cameras because their house looks like that, or because they don't have enough connectivity, especially when folks are working from home, to have their camera on and not get kicked out of the session with their students. So, and not to make excuses for people, but it's been difficult for faculty trying to deal with all of these things at the same time. And sometimes you just have to remind them, hey, you forgot to turn on your camera. It's just that simple, and they'd be happy to comply, but you have to people were getting used to these new modalities and trying to do new things. And like you just explained, we have so many other things that we still had to keep up with, even though we weren't on campus. And then trying to learn these new modalities and trying to teach mathematics. Are you kidding? Online, and trying to do all of the assessments with none of the platforms can really do math. And so, okay, how are we going to do this? So it was a difficult scenario for everyone, and applaud to everyone, the students, the faculty, everybody really did their best. But just don't be shy. I always tell my students, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. If I make mistakes, just tell me. Especially trying to coordinate all of this technology and doing everything simultaneously, you can, it just takes one moment's loss of concentration to write down 3 instead of 5. And so just tell me, isn't that supposed to be 5? Oh, yes, it is. Thank you so much. Because like you said, faculty are people too, and we accept, I certainly do. I accept that I'm not perfect, that I can have these little foibles or whatever. We've put up with various and sundry hardships as well. And so we appreciate the things that the students are going through, and appreciate them, like you say, giving us a little grace as well.
Absolutely. And thank
So for Roberto, just say, hey, can you turn your camera on? Thanks.
Peggy, I really, really appreciate it's not easy to step into that, and you did so. grace. And right at the end of the day, we all have that we're going through. I think that's where, like when I was speaking with that trust and that union between that student and that administrator, you know, that, hey, I can speak up. I can give my a bit of feedback is important. I really appreciate that feedback, Peggy, Roberto, that, hey, make the suggestion. Now, that comes with, you know, that student may say, oh, is it, you know, am I going to get in trouble if I say something? But at some point, we do have to take the risk in life and speak up and say things, and we'll learn, right? We'll learn from that. But I really, really, Peggy, appreciate your honesty and your feedback, because the needs at the institution are both the students and the faculty. We're both, there's two needs that need to be met on a day-to-day basis, and both of them are just as important, because if the faculty's mindset isn't right, then what is going to be the quality of the service to the student? And so I really appreciate that feedback, Peggy. All right, well, it looks like we're right at the time to transition. Please throw me some feedback real quick in the chat if you felt like the breakfast talks were of benefit to you, because we're going to be transitioning rather quickly. Just want to know, as we transition, at the end of day, the 1 p.m. Eastern, the chat box will be open the entire time. So we're going to be able to have some fun and interact with each other on the way out today. So get over to your next session and we'll be all back together at 1 p.m. Anybody that wants to talk internships and speak on your perspective with interns, please come on with me over to my session that's starting now. Take care, everybody.